A few months back on the channel, we looked into the laying the draw strategy, and I just blankly applied it to every single game that was going on that weekend, and it didn't work. Obviously, it didn't work. You need to do your research on strategies, and just blankly applying things with random odds, it's never going to go in your favour unless you get really lucky. But what I decided to do was a bit of a mix on that this time around, and do a laying the draw strategy for a whole week, where we first of all applied some guidelines to the odds that we were looking at for the markets, and then also after that looking at statistics in research as well, just to see how much of a return we could have expected if I was doing laying the draw this week, how I would have normally done it if I was going in with stakes. So if it sounds like something you're going to enjoy, please do be sure to hit that like button down below and the subscribe button. Before we do get into it though, it's key to note that this obviously isn't all the advanced strategy when it comes to laying the draw. There's more things you can do, there's less things you can do. It's just what my own personal strategy is when it comes to laying the draw. The results one week on this strategy may be completely different to the next week. One week you may make a fortune, one week you may make a huge loss. So please do take all that with a pinch of salt. And before you go into doing your own research on strategies, make sure you watch as much videos as you can, look at as many people's different strategies before you decide which one to go with. So my own personal strategy when it comes to laying the draw is I like to start off over on either Betfair or Markets. I come over to the football section, I go for the day's football, so today make sure there's over £2,000 matched. It's just something I like to do, just get rid of all the little nitty pick ones, and then I sort by time and I just scroll down and look at the matches that are coming up. Then what you want with laying the draw is a clear home favourite. So for that it can either be something as simple as under 2.0 odds. It's normally what I like to go for. Anything that's under 2.0 I like to go for, because I think that really in turn means they're obviously the favourites for the game. So you can see on this one we've got one match and two matches. We've got two matches available at the moment, but then what I like to do as well is make sure that the laying the draw odds are 4.2 or below. So this one here doesn't fit that criteria, but this one here does. So then I just open that up in a new tab and I'd keep looking, and you can see you're going to be able to generate quite a big list here of matches. So if I just keep looking and get a few more up, you can see we've got one here. This one here would be borderline, but depending on the stats you might want to go for it. If you're more familiar with the league, you might want to go for that as well. Now you don't have to rigidly stick to these statistics or these guidelines. I'm going to show you in a minute on the spreadsheet with the last week's results. There was a few trades I've added in where they either weren't in the criteria over here with the odds, or they weren't in the criteria with the research, but just because I know the league quite well and know the teams, that was one I was willing to do and stick my neck on the line for instead. But you can see here, for example, Chelsea West Ham, that might be one you're a bit more willing to do because you might know the league a bit more and think Chelsea are going to get the first goal, but the odds here for my criteria wouldn't fit. So you can see that out of all the matches that are available for today, I've only come to select 4 matches. So that's not a huge selection already, and then we're even going to pile down on the selection even further with some research on it. Now, if you're new to laying the draw, just a quick brief introduction here. What you're going to do is once you've found your match, you're going to lay the draw over here with however much liability you want. Then if the home team takes the lead, you cash out for a profit. If the away team takes the lead, you either hold on to that trade and hope the away team wins. If they go 2-0 up, cash out for your profit. If it goes to 1-1, I like to cash out and just get that loss done, depending on which minute it is within the game. And then if it stays 0-0, you normally wait until this back odds over here for the draw end up being 2.0, and then you cash out for your loss there as well. So there's different exit points and different strategies that everyone has. That's why it's vital you go watch some other videos before you get learning the strategy. But my next step over here is to go to footy stats or soccerstats.com. Then all I'm going to do is find these matches. So I'm just going to focus in on this one here in the Swiss Super League. So I'm going to get rid of all the other 3 over here, and we'll get looking for this Swiss Super League. So you can see I found the match here down at the bottom. I'm just going to open these stats up, and then I like to go to one section, and it's very simple to look at the statistics when it comes to my method. All you're going to do is come to this bit here, the contextual averages, and this is going to show you the home form or home trends for the home team and the away trends for the away team. And what you're going to look at here is this scored first and conceded first, because as you know with laying the draw, you're going to want that home team to score first and that away team to concede first. So you can see here the scored first is 53% and the away teams concede first is 40%. In this instance, when it comes to my strategy, I like both of these to be as close to 70% as possible. If both of them are 70% or over, I'll instantly just go do the lay draw, I won't do any more research. If one of them is 70% or above, I'll then come to this scoring rate / conceding rate above and look at the average in the middle. And if that average is 90% or above, I'll then trade it. So just a quick recap there in case I went a bit too quick. I'll look at the scored first and concede first. If both these are over 70, I'll get it placed. If only one is above 70, I'll come to this average up here, and if that's 90 or above, I'll get it placed. But if none of them are true, I won't place it. So you can see it will massively reduce which matches you're actually trading on, and it's not going to be perfect. Research won't show you everything exactly in the end, but if we come over to my results from the week of doing this, you can see there was a lot of matches that fit the criteria. So what I did was whenever one fit the Betfair criteria, like this one did, I'd instantly put it in the spreadsheet, then I'd go do the additional research. So if I just zoom in over here, you can see this is the additional research. We've got scored first percentage, conceded first percentage, and the average for and against. So I'd put in the criteria and then I'd decide which one I'm going to do by coming over here and putting in a yes in this column. So you can see with Stoke Bristol, neither was over 70, so I didn't even consider it. Neither, or one was over 70 here I should say, but the for against was under 90%, so didn't do it. This one here, both over 70, or 70 or over I should say, instantly gets placed. This one over 70, but that one's not over 90. But just as a quick brief overview here, you can instantly see that I've got the odds put in for if a team went 1-0 up, a team went 1-0 down, what the profit and loss would be, what the draw would be. Now the key thing to note here is we're going into these trades with £10 liability. Now the reason that's key to note is because we're not going in with a £10 stake, which as you can see over here will give you £31 liability. We're going in with £10 actual true liability, which to get to you just select liability over here and put in your £10. So that's how we're calculating these odds in the profit and loss here. So you can see we'd never actually really be losing £10, just a little bit under with the majority of the trades, but also the profit is going to be limited. But as you guys know on this channel, I like to stay with small stakes, so I'm always going to be doing this with this small liability. Now if you're someone who additionally likes to do something like this and test out the strategy before they do it, when it comes to doing trades where you're laying first then backing, it's quite hard to work out the actual amount of profit you're going to achieve. So that's why I use this website over here, which is quite simply going to be a lay the draw calculator. You're going to put in your lay odds, you're going to put in your lay stake. Now that is vital that you remember that this is actually the stake bit, not the liability. So I wasn't putting in £10 here, I was coming over at the trade, going at my liability, putting in £10 and then putting in this stake here. So that would be the £3.22. Then you put in your back odds, your exchange commission, and then you're done. So that would then give me my position on my profit and loss. But looking over here, you can see in the end we did 35 trades. If I was to have done this just blankly, going off the basic Betfair guidelines of the 4.2 laying the draw under, or under 2.0 for the home favourite, you can see we would have made a 1% loss. Now that's not awful. It's obviously a lot better than what happened when we did the laying the draw for the week, but you can see it's still not ideal. So you can see if we actually had done this, we got a 57% strike rate at the 1-0 point, we got a 74% strike rate for profit, so we only had 26% of the time a loss. So it was massively in favour of this working. We had 76% of the time, or 74% of the time I should say, profit, but still came away with a loss. So that instantly there shows you that laying the draw is one where your match selection is going to be absolutely key. There's other strategies where you can get a 50% strike rate and still be getting in profit, but for instance with this one, we've got a high strike rate and still making a loss. So it's vital you get your selection right. But then if we come over here to the place point and we get in all the matches that I would have done, you can see this one looks a little bit nicer. We only had one loss in the whole scenario, and that was West Ham Burnley. But you can see overall, after these 9 trades, we made 61% profit. Now it's not huge, and it's not a huge match selection. We don't have a huge range of matches to see whether or not this strategy is actually going to work long term, whether or not this criteria is good long term either. But this is the strategy I use whenever I do laying the draw, and you can see that for this week's worth of matches, we would have made a 61% profit. Now you can see there is 4 matches here that don't even fit my criteria, but I knew about the teams and I was willing to do it. When it came to New York and Salt Lake, I knew New York were a much better side, and I was more than happy to just go for this myself. And it was the start of the MLS season, so there wasn't really that much data available. But you can see that match ended up 6-0, so I was pretty confident with that one. Huddersfield Barnsley and Luton Blackpool, I just know the championship quite well, and I was more than confident that both these teams, even if they wouldn't win the game, they would definitely grab the first goal very quickly, and both of them did that. And then finally Leipzig versus Union Berlin, another one I was more than happy to do. Both these were quite close to 70% anyway, and that was 90% Nova, so I was more than happy to get that one placed. And again, you can see we did get that profit from that one. So if we'd have done all the laying the draw this week with my guidelines that I put in place and my criteria, with £100 worth of liability at stake, we would have made £61.10 profit. So that's a nice 61% return. Not huge, but still decent in the end. Now, on to my final little feelings about laying the draw. Do I think it's worth it? I'm going to be honest, I don't. I think it's a nice, simple strategy if you're someone who's just starting out with Betfair trading. It's a nice way to learn the markets, get your research in. But when you look at the potential risk to reward with laying the draw, it doesn't go well, especially if you're doing it from the start. This strategy is just doing laying the draw from the start. There's obviously different strategies where you can go in from half time, go in after a goal's been scored. There's loads of different strategies for laying the draw where you're going to be able to maximise your profit, and we'll look into them in future videos. But for laying the draw from the start, I don't see the big hype around it. I know it's a reliable strategy, but when your average wins are getting in 13%, and then whenever you make a loss you're losing 44%, or maybe even just a little bit less than that, but it's still a huge return. You're still needing to get 4 profits, and then 1 loss will wipe that out. So for me, I don't see the big hype around it. It is quite a drastic strategy with comparison to your wins and losses. And when you got strategies like laying the first set winner over in tennis, which I haven't been testing for too long, but there will be a video coming out in the next few weeks around this one, once I've got a lot more results around it. But you can see from this initial selection of just 16 matches, we've only got a strike rate of 56%, which is a lot lower than what we had in laying the draw. We had 67% in laying the draw, and this one we've only got 56. But with a 56% strike rate, we're getting a return so far of 117%. So when there's other strategies out there that are available like this, I don't see the hype around laying the draw. Now you can see with this strategy, we're losing whenever we lose a trade, 4%, 7%, 13%, but on a win trade over here, sometimes we're winning 40%, 30%. You can really see the difference between the strategies. Now, that one might end up falling off when I look at it a bit longer term, and laying the draw might stay a bit more secure and reliable. But at the moment, I do think that if you're someone who is really looking for that one strategy just to focus in on, I don't think laying the draw is the one. But I do think there is definitely opportunities for profit within laying the draw. But if you're new to trading and you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the like button. If you've got any other comments about laying the draw, I know there'll be things I did wrong in this video, but let me know down in the comments. Let me know what your own personal strategy is with laying the draw. When I actually come to doing laying the draw, I do prefer to start off a little bit later in the match because of the odds that are available for that. You don't get as much of a strike rate, but the odds are definitely better. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you for watching.